Coming up, Connor McDavid surpasses 800 points and the Devils' home winning streak comes to an end. This is Locked On Game to Game, NHL.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game NHL. Local experts join us to go over the biggest stories on the ice. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. The Capitals continue to struggle without Ovechkin, dropping their sixth straight after a loss to Detroit last night. Locked On Red Wings and Locked On Capitals break things down for us post-game.
The Detroit Red Wings get a vital win over the Washington Capitals, winning 3-1 tonight as they are chasing them, now tied with them for points in the wild card race, and took 8 out of a possible 10 points on this 5-game road trip. Scotty, what did we see in this road trip cap-off?
We saw beautifulness. That's what we saw. This was electric. What a chippy back and forth hockey game. A lot of physicality in it, which always makes for a fun brand to watch. But the Red Wings looked great. They really did. And especially for 50 of the 60 minutes, I thought they were pretty clearly the better team, even without Larkin. And I could not be happier and more amped up right now. We are in the hunt with a lot of games in hand of the teams in front of us as well. It's that time of year.
Pew 1C Suitor. I'm saying it.
That's all.
Washington Capitals fall to the Detroit Red Wings by a score of 3-1. This is Dan Holme of Locked On Capitals. Well, the Capitals struggled all evening. It was one of the things that is most common with this team is that when the opponent gets on the board first, this team struggles, and it doesn't help that they only had 12 shots on net through the second period. They did stage a bit of a comeback in the third period, ultimately outshooting the Detroit Red Wings in the third period 15-4. Tom Wilson was the only Capital to find the back of the net in his second goal in as many games. This game also saw the return of Nick Dowd to the lineup. It was a game that was, physical at moments. TJ Oshie took that cross check to the face. There was a game misconduct against Dylan Larkin, which spelled the end of his evening. The Capitals are struggling without Alex Ovechkin, their captain, in the lineup as they dropped their fifth game in a row. This is going to be a team that is ultimately going to be a seller in my assessment at the trade deadline, as at this point they are on the outside looking in as far as their playoff hopes. This will be the first time they miss the playoffs, if they in fact miss the playoffs, since 2014. I'll have more on this for you tomorrow on Locked On Capitals, your team every day.
Nashville did their very best to try and blow the game against the Vancouver Canucks, but they finally finished things out in a shootout and got the 2 points in the end. Locked On Predators details how the Preds made things a lot harder than they needed to be.
Nashville Predators back in the win column with a 5-4 shootout win over the Vancouver Canucks, but let's face it, never should have been that close to begin with. Nick Morgan here from the Locked On Predators podcast. Preds, let's be honest, survive this one. There's a lot of reasons they should not have won. The bad luck just continues for them. They gave up 2 6-on-5 goals right at the end of the game for Vancouver to force overtime. They lost one of their best two-way players in Ryan Johansson due to a nasty-looking injury, a skate to the side of his ankle. Yeah, and the Predators just could not get anything going against the lowly Canucks. Canucks grossly outshot them in this game. A bit concerning that the Predators couldn't put their foot on the gas against one of the NHL's worst teams, but you know what? At this point, a win is a win. Preds will gladly take it, and for now, they stay alive in the playoff race.
Coming up, Connor McDavid racking up more goals for the Oilers. This is Locked On Game to Game, NHL. Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by FanDuel. We are so excited about our new sports betting partner because they are the #1 sports book in America. If you're new to FanDuel, that's even better because they have so many great features that make betting really easy and fun. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will lead the team in scoring. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to get $1,000 in bonus bets. All you have to do is sign up and deposit $10 or more. place your first bet, and if you don't win, you could get up to $1,000 in bonus bets. You can do all that at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Welcome back to Locked On Game to Game NHL. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you once again for making Locked On your first listen every weekday. Connor McDavid continues to do ridiculous things offensively, and it led to another win for Edmonton, this time over the Flyers. Locked On Flyers and Locked On Oilers are in with a full recap.
Well, the Oilers didn't look that impressive to start, to be honest, but Connor McDavid came through with his 800th point and more to win this one in Edmonton. Hi, I'm Rachel Donner with your Locked On Flyers quick reaction to the Flyers' 4-2 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. Flyers really did hold it down for 2 periods, other than that one mistake on the PK at the end of the first. They had held the Oilers to only 10 shots on goal in the first 40 minutes. Unfortunately, things went a little off the rails in the third as the Oilers were able to capitalize on a 4-minute power play. Plus, there were some defensive mistakes by the Flyers that allowed the Oilers to take the lead for the duration. For more on this game and the Flyers all season long, tune in to the Locked On Flyers podcast wherever you listen.
The Oilers snap a 4-game losing streak as they mount not 1, but 2 comebacks against the Philadelphia Flyers. Hi, my name is Brett Holden from Locked On Oilers, and despite going down 1-0 and 2-1 against the Flyers at Rogers Place, the Oilers come back to win this one 4-2. And it couldn't have been done without their superstars in Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, as on the same goal, Leon Draisaitl gets his 700th point in the NHL, and Connor McDavid also getting his 800th goal, but not to be mistaken, as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins also getting his career-high 70th point on the game-tying goal from Leon Draisaitl on the power play, and it was Connor McDavid who would run away with it, scoring the game-winning goal and the insurance goal with the empty netter. Connor McDavid now has 104 points on the year, and Leon Draisaitl also chipping in with a goal and 2 assists in this one. But it all started with Tyson Barrie in front of the Tyson Barrie fan club, as he scored with 2.5 seconds left in the first, as the Oilers started their momentum right there, and Stuart Skinner was the one to mount the comeback for the Oilers. 23 saves on 25 shots as he gets the win against former Edmonton area goaltender, and a goaltender he knows quite well in Carter Hart. The season series between the two of them is 1-0-1. Speaking of records, the Edmonton Oilers improved to 31-19-8 on the season and 10-1-2 with Vinny Desharnais in the lineup. The Oilers look to improve on that record when they head to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to face off against the Penguins, a 5 o'clock puck drop Mountain Standard Time here in Edmonton.
The Devils' home winning streak comes to an end thanks to the Montreal Canadiens. Locked On Devils is in to let you know what went wrong in Jersey.
What's up? This is Trey Matthews of Locked On Devils, and here is my post-game reaction. So, the New Jersey Devils probably put on one of their worst performances all season. They lost badly to the Montreal Canadiens by a score of 5-2, and it snaps the New Jersey Devils' lengthy home win streak. So, Devils didn't get off to a good start right out the gate. They went down 1-0. Jesper Bratt was able to tie it up, but after that, the Montreal Canadiens just opened up the floodgates, and the New Jersey Devils were creating some good looks offensively, and they had a boatload of breakaways, but unfortunately they could not finish. Defense was atrocious. Vitek Vanecek wasn't sharp in between the pipes, and we couldn't sub him out because Mackenzie Blackwood went down with an injury during morning skate. You brought up Akira Schmid just hours before the game, so you didn't really want to put him in unless you absolutely needed to. So nonetheless, it was just not a good outing for the New Jersey Devils. But on the bright side, at least they were able to create some good looks offensively. So yeah, there's a silver lining right there, but all in all, not a good performance from the Devils this time around.
That will do it for this edition of Locked On Game to Game NHL. Thank you once again for making Locked On your first listen every weekday. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On NHL and your favorite team's Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.